Hello everybody, here we are, and hopefully today I'm not gonna be facing the network issue. That simply means we can go through this particular section right now. If I face the network issues, then I won't really have any other option except like stopping the stream. But if in case we don't face the network issue, so I'm gonna be continuing with this. Alrighty, by the way, let's continue from here on. What is this? Never mind. So what is gonna be the main goal of this particular live? Pretty simple thing actually. Yesterday I was going through HPA, horizontal pod scaling and all, Autoscaler and all. So today we are gonna be doing that practically, and once we have gone through that, then that's it. We don't really need to worry about anything else. I hope it's clear. By the way, coming back to this one, the learning project that should be scaling. So this was something that I was working with yesterday. So yesterday was spent mainly configuring this things and all, and today we are gonna be working on the real implementation part. So let's simply get it done without any further delay. And let me turn off the chats. I haven't done that yet. So here we are. And hopefully everything's set up correctly. Am I audible right now? Alrighty, I am audible. So without any further delay, let's simply get going. Yesterday I had this particular configuration over here. As per this configuration, this is mainly used for creating an EKS cluster. So I'm gonna be creating it really quick. I just want a cluster online, and K3 small is going to be used. 2 desired capacity is volume is gonna be 20 around, and these things are enabled by default. They're mainly for auto scaling stuff and all. So what are the stuff here? Let me clear it. When it comes to the steps here, there was HPA. So first of all, I was supposed to be creating a cluster, and this is the command for creating the cluster, almost whatever the configuration that I need. So let's simply apply it, and then we will be going to the next step. So EKS CTL and create cluster, and the file name is gonna be ekscluster.ml. So this is how it's going to be created, though it's definitely gonna take some time to just simply create it, so we'll have to do nothing but wait, and meanwhile I can just simply talk about other things here. Okay, so right now what is happening, this let me log in with the sign as root user here. Okay, turns out I have to enter the ID. That's gonna be this one. Enter password and of course I'm gonna be skipping it for now. Error loading node group. Okay, that's fine. Yesterday it was deleted, so right now a new one should be creating. So a new EKS cluster is being created right now. That's great. What is the next thing that we are gonna be doing here? Once this is being created, so ultimately I should be getting my auto scaling groups as well along this. So if I duplicate it, let me search EC2 here, and here inside EC2, if I go to this auto scaling groups, ASGs, so right now I don't have any auto scaling group, but hopefully by the time this cluster is running, I will have that group here as well. And similarly, I don't have any load balancer but soon I will have some load balancers as well. And this is how even when it comes to the volume, so I don't have I just have one volume, that is 40 gigabyte, that was created dynamically, and now I'm gonna be just simply deleting it as well, because this charges as well. Alrighty, so this volume has been deleted. Coming back to this one, this cluster is still in the process, so it's going to be created very soon. What we are gonna be doing here, let's simply talk about that. So let's simply go through the steps. So ultimately we are going to be talking about HPA, that is horizontal pod scaling. That simply means how you can just simply scale the pods and all. Node auto scaling, how the nodes are actually scaled, and what is the resource management. So we are going to be talking about all these things. Coming back to horizontal pod auto scaler, or horizontal pod accelerator, mainly ACA, that is accelerator. Okay, so a horizontal pod auto scaler HPA is a Kubernetes feature that automatically adjusts the number of pod replicas in a deployment. Replica set is stateful set based on observed metrics like CPU utilization or custom metrics. This helps ensure that application can handle varying loads by scaling out, adding more pod replicas when demand increases, and scaling in reducing the number of pod replicas when demand decreases. Horizontal scaling, as the number suggests, if you add more pods to your cluster, it means scaling horizontally. Horizontally refers to the fact that you haven't increased the resources on the demand on the machine. Okay, got it. And architecture, this way we can have multiple pods inside this. Architecture, Kubernetes implementation, horizontal pod auto scaling as a control loop. Architecture, Kubernetes implements horizontal pod auto scaling as a control loop that runs intermittently in the sense in every 15 seconds or something. It is not a continuous process once in every 15 seconds. There is something called code wizard. This is mainly used for getting the metrics, if I'm not wrong. Not quite sure about this thing, but this is something I will have to dig deeper into as well. So let's simply have the link here /web code wizard, and if I click on this, so what it does, let's simply know more about it. So code wizard, and at the end C advisor. Okay, container advisor provides container users an understanding of the resources, user and performance characteristics of their runtime containers. It is a running daemon that collects, aggregates, processes, and exports information about running containers. Specifically for each container, it keeps resources isolation parameters. Historical resource uses histograms of complete historical resource users and network statistics. This is exported by container and machine wide. Let's keep it here only. Let's stop right here. And that's good. I mean, whatever it does, how it does and all, I'm not really worried about it right now. Later I will be just simply knowing more about it. For now, I have the link saved in my notes, and that's what I want. By the way, this particular link needs to be inside this particular links for section. And once we have gone through this, then metrics server. The metrics server is a lightweight in-memory store for metrics. It collects a resource users metrics such as CPU and memory from the kubelets and exposes them via Kubernetes APIs. This is the issue for that. Let's simply see what it just simply shows. So let me know more about it. What is this issue is all about? So I have deployed Nginx pods, but metrics server cannot retrieve CPU statics for this. I get the following error: resource unable to fetch format. Just a minute, give me a second. Uh, mm, Alright, everybody, let's continue. So what I was just simply saying over here, that even though I statics from pods on the same nodes, what is missing? Same here. This is something I will definitely go through it sooner or later. So I'm gonna be just simply saving it here. Let's see. The same link needs to be saved here as well. /web. I'm gonna be keeping all the links here, whatever, if they can ever be used in future. So they're gonna be at least together. And who knows what kind of error I'm gonna be facing in the future. So that's good. Meanwhile, this is definitely this must be running here. I should be having two of them. Busybox. Let me close this. Alrighty, how would the process of creating the cluster? That is still in the process. So cluster is still getting created. Let me just continue with this thing. So kubectl apply this. We will have to apply Kubernetes metrics server release. Release latest download components. I don't really think I need to do it. GitHub Kubernetes size metric server release latest. This metric server is automatically added if I'm not wrong. So let it be created, then I will be able to see whether this gets created or not on what exactly happens over here. Try getting the metrics. And apart from this particular thing, kubectl top nodes. So meanwhile I need to have some commands over here as well. HPA, let's simply have the commands over here slash code. Those commands are gonna be, first one is the kubectl get kubectl top pod. It just simply gives me the pods that belongs to, suppose, cube system, and it gives me the resources that are being consumed. Kubectl top, even I can get the nodes, and I don't really think I need this cube system over here, but let's see what's gonna be happening. First of all, let it run, then only I can check it. So I have no other way except waiting for this. And the sample request that goes from HPA controller to the API server. Get this is the request that just simply goes on like this. Let's not worry about this. Let's simply focus on this one. So ultimately what will happen, I will have a master node. Inside master node, my HPA controller will be running. That HPA controller will be checking in every 15 seconds or something, like how many pods you have and whether there's any need for increasing the pods and all based on the users, CPU users, API server, and pod 10 seconds, code advisor, metric server. I think code advisor that we have, C advisor, not code advisor, C advisor that we have over here, that is used for getting the metrics from the pod, and then kubelet gets that from the C advisor, and then similarly metric server just simply collects that and all and sends it to the API server. But this thing can be done directly if I'm not wrong too. This is still in the process, so gotta wait for some time so that it just simply gets done, and then I will be just going ahead from here on, and until unless it is done we can't really do anything. Meanwhile, let's discuss some other things. So app for the day, we will be just simply creating one app as well. So why not, I already have a demo app, I'm gonna be creating this one as well. So let me create backend here, a simple backend. I'm gonna be creating the images from here as well. So ls for cd backend, I'm gonna be creating a simple backend that's gonna be bun init for all, that gonna be the straight way to just simply create a backend. This is the backend that I have here, and once I have this backend, so few things I need to fix here. Okay, this is gonna be DOM. Once I have this as DOM, then this is done. Index.ts, few things that I need to install here. So bun add express I need, and probably bun add type / express as a dev dependency. So this is done. The app is okay, got it. We don't I'm gonna be just simply creating it on my own over here, and as for the code, this is gonna be the overall code that we have here, simple. And in this particular app, I just have a simple for loop on the home, /dir /route, and whenever I get it, it just simply runs a big for loop and just simply returns hello world at the end of the day. So this is how it just simply goes. One extra thing that I can actually do over here, that is whenever I'm gonna be running it, at that time I'm gonna be saving the ports, like port numbers inside probably the config map or something. So I can just simply say that I will have port over here, and this port is actually gonna be coming from CLG, not CLG actually. Port is actually gonna be equals to process.env.port, just like this, and I'm gonna be just simply adding the port number over here. So this is how it's gonna be done. Similarly, this big value that I have, this big value too will be coming from the process.env.big value, just like this. Ultimately, I'm gonna be sending both these things from there, and this is at the end of the day gonna be a number. So we'll be converting it to a number. So this is how I will have the things, and both the things I will be saving inside a config map. I will be creating that anyway, and once this is done, then that's it. We don't really need to worry about anything. So let me try to run this anyway. ls, first of all I need to have port number is suppose 3000. I need to have a big number, big value. That value of that big value is gonna be around this much. So let me paste it over here, and then I'm gonna be saying run, and that's gonna be index.ts, just like this. So let's simply go with this. It is running on port 3000, so ultimately yeah, it does work. And as it is running on port 3000, so if I send any request to localhost 3000, localhost 3000, and then after some time I'm gonna be getting the result as well. And by the way, in that particular result I want to send something else. So response.json, I want to send the port number, that's gonna be equals to the port, and I want to send the big value, that's gonna be equals to big value, just like this. So that is it. We don't really need to worry about anything else as such. Let's simply wait for a while. I think I need to even restart this, so let's simply restart this right now. Once it is actually restarted, I should be able to send a request to localhost 3000, and after some time I should be getting the response, but it is just simply saying that connection refused. Though it is running locally on the device, I even have the big value, so should not be problematic. I should be getting the response over here, but it turns out that I'm not gonna be getting. So let's wait for some more time, and then hopefully I should be getting the response. It is still loading, and by default it goes like this. I'm running it here using bun. So what is the problem? Let me do one more thing. There is CLG. I'm gonna be logging the port number, and that's gonna be equals to port, and I'm gonna be logging the value of bigger value, that's gonna be equals to big value, just right here. And now of course I have to restart this for sure. So we are definitely getting this, that's great. It is even running on port 3000. For some reason not able to get the result. The result actually goes there if I'm not wrong. How will I check that it is being received? CLG CIG is received the request. That's what I have to check, because it is taking quite a lot of time. Whoa. Yeah, by default the request gets sent. So one thing is clear, I'm definitely receiving the request. Once the request is received, this big value is kind of too big, or what? And then I'm returning the response from here. So localhost 3000, the simple or normal request, the received the request. I do receive the request of over here, but the response doesn't get sent. That is the problem. And this is the big value, that is just simply looping through it. So how many zeros I have over here? 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. So ultimately 10 to the power 9. 33639. For some reason it is actually taking a lot of time, more than it should be taking. So let me do one thing. This time I'm gonna say that okay, let's have one less zero, and then simply run it. Then hopefully I should be getting the result. Okay, now I get the result. So one extra zero was just simply making it consume a lot of time, so that is why I just simply decrease that, and this seems to be working right now. The question is, what am I gonna be doing? By the way, the last time when I ran it directly on AWS machine, yeah, AWS EC2 machine, ultimately in an not AWS EC2 machine, inside the Kubernetes container, it was able to give me the response for some reason, like not for that long. I mean, it wasn't taking that much time, but it was able to give me the result. And this time it is giving me the result when I'm decreasing the number of zeros. Otherwise I don't think I'm gonna be getting it. So it will just keep loading and will not give me the result. This is insane. I think the values that I have, they are sort of the same if I'm not wrong. Right, again, the request is received easily. La. I'm running it at many places as well. Let me start one more terminal, or probably I have the previous one. Kill this one. Stop. What is actually happening here? Okay. It's not like one is consuming 100% of the CPU core, but these are still running. So for some reason, it is not really able to give me the expected result. In that case, I have only one option, that is I'm gonna be decreasing the number here, probably to 1 less 0, and then gonna be running this, and this time when I send the request, I'm getting the result. Great, 1 0 makes it impossible to get the result, but okay, later I'm gonna be going with that 1 0 only, one extra 0. Okay, but once I have done these many things, let me stop it, exit, ls. What is the next thing that I'm gonna be doing over here? Okay, get nodes. I should be getting all the nodes over here, and hopefully not facing the network issue as such. That's such a good thing. Today I'm not facing the network issue. So by the way, these are the two nodes that I have. It should be like this, and once I have these two nodes, what is the next thing? Coming back to this, we have created our cluster. Okay, the cluster is created, and once the cluster is created, let me explore a few more things here. Auto scaling groups. Reload the page. This is the auto scaling group that automatically got created. So we have this auto scaling group. Desired capacity is 2. Scaling is limit is 1 to 5. We already had this, and we haven't done anything. It automatically got created by the cluster. And T3 small is being used. Storage EBS only, and integrations, auto scaling. I'm not even gonna be adding auto scaling policies over here. When it comes to instances, so I have 2 instances over here. That simply means 2 nodes are running. And apart from this particular thing, remaining things are overall fine. This is the activity that I have over here. And now it will be increasing or decreasing the number of nodes. I can definitely edit this from here, but this is not what I want. I don't want to edit this manually. Even I think we don't have, any auto scaling policies here. So right now we don't have any policy. That simply means, though if I want, I can just simply click on create a policy and it's gonna be created, but I don't want to do anything from here. So what I want, even I should have some volumes here. These 2 volumes that I have, they are just for the my node, the nodes that have been created. And when it comes to instances, so I will have 2 instances, and they are nothing but the nodes right now. They are just simply running 2. Great stuff. So we have gone through this much. The next thing is that we are gonna be creating a sample app. This is gonna be the configuration for the sample app. So let me just simply copy this from here, and I'm gonna be talking about exactly what it is. But ultimately I will run a sample app, and backend deployment, right? So let me create mkdir oops here, ls, and EKS cluster that I have, I will be just simply moving it. So move EKS cluster inside oops, just like this. So it is going to be moved cd oops ls. Now I have it inside this vi, and that's gonna be backend app. What is the name of this? Backend deployment, right? So backend manifest. Let me create a folder, and that will be used for backend manifest. Enter backend, because I may have many things later. So cd backend, and ultimately I'm gonna be creating a manifest. So vi manifest.ml. I'm gonna be pasting this over here. Definitely I'm gonna be discussing what these things are and all. Alrighty, by the way, coming back to this one, it's quite big one. So inside hooks I have backend, inside backend I have my manifest.ml. I'm just simply saying that I need a deployment and the name is backend deployment. That's gonna be mainly for the backend one. 2 replicas for the backend I need. This is nothing but the deployment. I have 2 nodes. I'm creating a deployment that will have 2 replicas by default. Match app, the label is the app backend by default. Container, I want to run nginx over here. These things need to be removed. They are just for the learning purposes. So let me remove this. Let me remove this as well. So the yesterday I talked about this enough. So minimum resource request is 100 millicores and limit is 200 millicores. So this is how it's gonna be going on. And what is actually gonna happen later? That suppose what's gonna be the overall flow for creating a pod and then the node as well. So suppose this is the cluster that I have. Inside this particular cluster I have a pod. So this is the one of the pods that I have. Inside this pod, what is happening? That suppose it has one, or it has 500 milli, or let me make it 1 core. So this is a 1 core node that I have. Okay, so 1 core node, just like this. So this is the node of 1 core. Similarly, I will have one more node. Ultimately, I have 2 nodes over here, and similarly, that's actually gonna be 1 core node. And inside this 1 core node, what is happening? That I will have pods. Suppose this is the first pod that I have. Similarly, this is the second pod, and this way I will have many pods inside this. What is actually happening that when it comes to these pods over here, so when it comes to the pod over here, the resource limit, the resource request is 100 mm. That simply means minimum there should be 100 millicore space to just simply create this pod. And if one needs minimum 100, so that simply means just something like this, I can create 10 more pods here. So this is how it's gonna be going on. Okay, and suppose right now I have 2, and it also has the minimum resource request 100, and the limit for these is gonna be around 200 m. That simply means maximum that they can use, that is 200. On the basis of this, I'm gonna be checking the their uses, exactly how much they have been used. So suppose I have right now probably 5 pods running here, and as per the uses, suppose this one is as per the uses of these pods. So this one is using around 70 m. Okay, and the another one, this one is using around suppose 100 mm directly. This one is using probably 200 m, because the base limit is the base request is resource request is 100, but at the end of the day it can use up to the limit is 200. That simply means it can go beyond that as well. So it is using this much. Suppose this one is also using 200 m, and lastly this one is using 100 m. That's a lot of traffic, and this is how they are using this. Alrighty, so this much they are just simply using the stuff here, and that simply means if I talk about the percentage, so how much HPA percentage is HPA utilization. So this is 70%, and this is 100%. This is 200%, because all is being used, and this is gonna be 200% as well, and lastly this is gonna be 150%. So this is how they are being used, 150%. So what is actually happening? The limit is 100. That simply means if it is using till 100, so 100% uses. But if it goes beyond that, so the usage actually increases. And the calculation of all this thing should be always less than 1 core. So 1 core means 1000 millicores. So 100, 200, 200, so 500, 500, 650, 70, 820. So only 820 millicores are being used. So even if they have reached up to 200 uh, millicores users, still the total is 850 millicores. So 850 m is being used over here. This is the total. So 70, 100, so ultimately 500, 600, 650. No way, no way, no way, no. 500, 600, 650, 750. Sorry. 720 m is being used right now. So ultimately this is equals to 500, 500 plus 600, 650, and 650 plus 70, that's gonna be around 720 m that is being used. Now it's not, this is the total CPU being used. Total CPU in the sense the total core I have, that is 1 core. 1 core in the sense 1000 m that I have, and 720 m is being used. So I have to know exactly how much CPU is being used right now, and not just about that. So ultimately, if it is being used this much, so if I have 1 core, so around 70% or something CPU is being used. But I don't have to worry about how much CPU is being used. I have to worry about this resource, like how much on an average they are having to just handle. So how much load they are handling, because at the end, if CPU utilization per pod goes over 50%, or probably let's keep it 70% over here, then I have to create a new pod, right? So this is the request that I have. So what am I gonna be doing? I'm gonna be checking the average load that they are handling. By the way, they are actually handling the load like this much. But if I try to get the average load, so that's gonna be around 720 divided by 5. So 720 is the total load, total millicores are being used, and divided by 5 pods are there. That simply means around 1, and then 2, 2, 4, and 4, 144. So this much percentage is being used by one CPU. So sorry, one pod. So one pod is being used, if on an average 144%, if I just simply combine all of them. And what is the default CPU utilization for per pod? That is 70%. HPA utilization, I must say. It has already gone far from that. So ultimately new pods are gonna be created. The question is how many new pods I need. Right now I have 5 pods. Still the CPU utilization is 144 per pod, and I just want it to be 70%. That simply means the current utilization, the total number of pods that I have, 5 multiplied by what is the current utilization, that is 144, and how much do I want? I want 70%. This is how it's gonna be going on. And now if I just simply divide it, so 144 divided by 70 multiplied by 5. So let me just simply calculate it really quick. Okay, calculator. So 5 multiplied by 144 divided by 70, just like this. So I got 10 point something, 10.28. So number of pods that I need, that is 10.28 or something. That simply means I will be getting the ceiling. So I need 11 pods. Okay, so ultimately 11 pods are required. How many pods I have? I have only 5 pods. That simply means 6 more pods need to be added. So this is how number of pods is calculated. Okay, now I need 6 more pods. So if 11 pods are needed, I need, how many pods are needed? 6 pods. And one pod request resources 100 minimum. In here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pods are already here. The CPU core, that is 1. That simply means 5 more pods can be added over here. So from these 6 pods, 5 pods are gonna be added here. So ultimately there are gonna be 5 more pods here that can be added, because the CPU core is 1. That simply means 100 milli cores, but 1 is still remaining. 5 pods got added, but I needed 6 pods. That simply means 1 pod is still remaining. There is no space in this particular node right now, because I already have 10 pods in here. So one pod will be scheduled to the another pod. So if I did not have this particular node, so this node would be created as I already have this one. So this particular is going to be scheduled to this one. So this pod will be here. And then similarly, just like this pod, I can have 10 more pods like this, and 10 more pods like this over here. Oh sorry, not 10 more, 9 more pods like this, because one I already have it here. And at the end, once the number actually reaches 10, because one pod minimum resource request is 100 M, I have one core over here. That simply means 1000 M, and that simply means I can have 1 plus 9 more. That simply means 10. Once I have 10, then no more pod can be added to this one, no more pod can be added to this one. So they are gonna be full by that time. This is already full, this is not full yet, but by that time this will also be full, be just completely full. That simply means at that time new node will be created, and inside that particular new node new pods are gonna be added depending on the need. So this is how it just simply goes on. So ultimately what am I doing? There are two things. First of all, I have my pods running. I'm gonna be calculating HPA utilization HPA utilization in the sense, on the basis of request resource that I have. Suppose the request resource is 100 M. So how much they are using, and what is the limit? Limit can be supposed 200 here. So how much they are using? If they are using 100 M completely, that simply means 100%. They can go up to 200 as well. So they can use 2%. The HPA utilization per pod can actually be 200% as well. So at the end, what am I gonna be doing here? At the end, pretty simple thing. I'm just simply gonna be getting the average CPU utilization per pod. How much per pod is actually handling? For that thing, I will all HPA utilization. That simply means the CPU utilization per pod. Just simply add them divided by number of pods that I have. In this way, I will get the average CPU utilization. Once I got the average CPU utilization, then what will I do? I will calculate the number of pods that are needed. And how will I calculate this? The total number of pods that I have right now. Suppose I had 5 multiplied by what was the use, total use, that was 270 divided by what is the CPU utilization target? Target in the sense, after by the way, if they have 2720 total utilization, so if I divide it by 50, divide it by 5, because there are 5 pods, so ultimately one pod is gonna be handling around 144 percentage. So what I want, the target percentage is what? Target percentage is only 70. If it is goes more than 70%, create a new pod. It is already 144 per pod. That simply means, what will I be doing? I have 5 pods running. 5 pods are actually handling how much? 5 pods are actually handling 144 percentage CPU uses per pod of ultimately, and per pod should only be going up to 70%. If it goes more than that, I should create a new pod. So it is already more than that, probably double of that, so 5, and the current CPU utilization what 144, and divided by how much do I want. Suppose I want it to be less than or equals to 70%. If it goes over 70%, I'm gonna be creating a new pod. So if I just simply calculate this, if I make it so it will be around 2, and 2 multiplied by 5 around 10 point something. That simply means it's gonna be 10 point a few numbers here, 28 or something, and that simply means it's gonna be around 11 pods that I need. So this is how pods are created. How do I know these rules and all? Yesterday I just talked to the AI quite a lot. We had a good discussion, and then I ended up figuring out everything, and these are the rules that are being used over here for getting the utilization. Actual CPU utilization divided by CPU request, but even before that, utilization, actual CPU utilization, that simply means how much it is actually using. 100 M, 200 M, divided by CPU I request that was around 100 in our case, multiplied by this, so you will get the CPU utilization in percentage. Once you got that, you have to calculate the average. Once you got the average, then you can get the desired pods. Even I have mentioned the same thing over here as well. Well, it's gonna be quite a lot if we just keep discussing that, so let's simply end this right here and let's start working on the logic part. Whatever I had to discuss, I have discussed. Let me create this deployment that has CPU resource request 100, limit is 200. This is how it's gonna be going on. ls k apply f manifest.ml. A deployment will be created. So ultimately we do have the deployment right now. It has been created. What is the next thing? We have our sample app running. Great. Once we have our sample app running, then we want to check the metrics as the sample app is running right now. ls so k get pods. So ultimately these are the two pods that are running now. K get nodes were already running too. If I want to check the how much CPU utilization is actually being used, so k get k top nodes. So this way I'm gonna be getting the CPU utilization over here. 2% of this one, 1% of this one, that is much is being used. K top pods, because right now we have to mainly worry about the pods right here. 0M, that simply means it is not consuming at all. Great stuff. So how will I be making pods consume more CPU? For that thing I have to send a request to that. So the request actually goes to the local host. By the way, there is a problem. What that problem is, that is we have this pod running here. Great. Once we have this pod running here, we are not really using any load balancer. That simply means as there is no load balancer, it is not going to be exposed, and for exposing it I will have to use the load balancer. So k get svc. Right now I'm not really getting any svc over here. That simply means no service has been created. Great. Okay, what is the next step? The next step is creating the metric server. K apply this. I don't really think this is needed. It is just simply asking me to add a metric server, and that's the same thing I had, but I think metric servers are added by default. So the metric server that it is a CPU backend, and container ports name CPU. Later I'm gonna be using my on pod as my on deployment as well. It is disconnecting, connecting. What is the problem? Let's not worry about that. And then we actually need to create a load balancer so that it can be exposed, so we may have to work on that. And HPA manifest, we have already worked on the HPA manifest. We have even defined it. I don't think I have applied it. We don't really have even HPA manifest, so we will have to work on that. And k apply deployment. You can scale up down based on the multiple metrics. If either of the metrics goes above the threshold, we scale up. If the metrics go below the threshold, we scale down. Okay, so we have gone through this much. What is the next thing that we have to go with? Metric server, I don't need to do this because we are able to get it directly. Okay, but let's see if I need to do it later. Then I need my HPA pod auto scaling configuration. So this is gonna be the one. So let me copy it from here. I will be explaining exactly what it does. ls. So I have my backend, I have my EKS cluster over here, and HPA configuration that is mainly related to, let's give it here. So vi hpa.ml. I'm gonna be pasting everything over here. Alrighty, what am I saying in here? I have HPA inside backend, I have backend's manifest, nothing else. Inside this I'm just simply saying that auto scaling this horizontal autoscaler, this metadata backend HPA, this is the backend HPA. That simply means it will be used for auto scaling the backend pods. Spec scale target ref apps v1 deployment. What is the name of the deployment that we want to scale? The name of the deployment is backend deployment, right? And that's what we want to scale. Minimum replicas to 2 I need, maximum can be 10. 10 replicas of the pods I'm talking about. Type resource is gonna be CPU. So resource based on the CPU, that is the resource request. Target utilization, average CPU 60%. Let's keep it even 50%, that doesn't really matter. if the CPU utilization goes more than 50%, at that time new pod should be created. As simple as that. That's what we are discussing over here. This thing we have already gone through. Okay, next, before we load test, we add some limits to your pods. We are doing this. Well, we have already added the limit to our pod. Try sending a bunch of requests to server, or just visit the browser, npm load test. There is something called load test. Last time I tried using this load test, there were some issues with this. So let me try this thing again. Keep Godel top pods, keep Godel get HPA, and this. So what is happening? We have our pod running. So k get pods. This is the pod that is running, and k top pods will be returning me the users, CPU users that is being used. Right now they are using 00. Somehow I have to send the request. So for sending the request, I have another option here. For testing it, I have to go inside this. I have to run an image busy box. So kubectl run load generator image busy box bin ssh while true. That image itself is sending a request to the backend service, and I haven't created this backend service yet. So backend service that I have over here, the sample app that I had, backend deployment I have over here, but I don't really think I have it here. This is mainly for enabling Autoscaler, but I don't have the service here. So let me do one thing. Instead of doing this in here, I'm actually gonna be creating an image of my current application, because though I have this sample app here, but this sample app doesn't really do anything as such, so it's not gonna be useful in this particular case. So we should have a sample. I'm gonna be just simply copying the things from here, and this will have the same. Only few things I'm gonna be changing, and what are those few things? Not just few things, just only one, and that is, instead of running this nginx, I will be running unstoppable the coder / backend app request. If I actually want to make a request to this service, as per this, what I want to do over here, I want to make a request to the backend service. What is this backend service? This backend service is gonna be nothing but a cluster IP. That simply means, just a minute, give me a moment. Alright everybody, for some reason I keep facing this network issue. Not for some reason, mainly because at noon there's high possibility of facing it because of the high temperature and all. But okay, never mind. If I want to use this service, so of course I need to create a service for my backend deployment, so that when I make a request to the service is actually able to forward the request to the pod. So let's check out this thing. Let me send this. Yes, you are thinking the right direction. Short answer, yes, you need a Kubernetes service, because pods are temporary, but a service there should be a cluster as well. So pods app, this backend service stable Kubernetes. Well, this much is just not enough. I need a service, but what is the type for the service? There should be the cluster type. I don't have that cluster IP. Alrighty, ultimately we will have to create a service. So let's do one thing. ls, we have to send a request to this, and not only one, we have to send many requests to this particular backend deployment app. For sending the request, I'm gonna be creating another as per this. We have to create another image, ultimately another pod that is going to be running, and that pod will mainly be responsible for sending a lot of requests to the backend service. Okay, so ultimately the first one that I have, Let's simply remove this better section from here. I could have created this, but let's go with the another way as well. So this app that I have, this is not complete. I need to create a service along with this. And how are the services created? So this manifest that I have, this manifest needs to have a service. How do we create a service? That's an altogether new question. And for the service, I already have the configuration ready, so I'm just simply gonna be copying and pasting this stuff so that it doesn't really take a lot of time. So Kubernetes, whenever I covered the service section, this is where it was covered. I need to create a cluster IP service. This is the configuration for that particular service. So let me copy it, because cluster IPs are mainly gonna be used for exposing that. So this is the service that I have created. And by the way, this is the deployment that I have. The name of the deployment is backend deployment, and the app is backend right now. And kind service, backend service, namespace is gonna be backend team. And let me not give it any namespace. Let me give it the default namespace, because the deployment that I'm creating, that doesn't have any namespace over here, so that's gonna be default. Selector app backend. So this will be selecting the pods based on this, and let me check whether it has the same or not. App backend, it does have the same selector, so that's fine. Ports protocol TCP port is gonna be 3000. Not really. Port is gonna be 80 for this service. Cluster IP, and so that whenever I send a request to that, I don't have to mention the port number. Target port is gonna be 80 as well. So this is how it's gonna be going on. What actually ChatGPT suggested. Let me have a look over here as well. Here. So it suggested if your backend runs on port 3000, then this, but my backend as well runs on port 80, so let's not worry about that. If I send the request should be sent, and this is how it should be done. So this much I have changed over here, and once this much got changed, so what will I be doing? I already have few pods running. I have changed a few things inside them. Get deployments. This is the deployment. So delete deployment dot apps slash backend. I'm gonna be deleting this deployment. So this deployment is going to be deleted. And then if I try to get the deployments right now, not getting any. And what am I gonna be doing right now? Stop it. The next thing is that ls actually I already have backend and manifest here. So apply f backend manifest.ml. This is gonna be applied. This time I will be getting the service as well. So get svc. A service should have been created. This is the service, the new backend service that's been created. And get pods. I should be having some pods here as well that are running. What am I gonna be doing now? I'm actually gonna be running another pod. Okay, and that will be making because if I write now get pods, these are the pods that I'm getting. Top pods. Those pods are consuming 4 MCPU right now, and slowly it's gonna be even less than that. Okay, what I want to send the request over here. How will I be sending the request? I'm gonna be creating another pod that will do nothing but send many requests to this this backend service. Great. And for that thing I already have the command. Simple thing is that you have to run up not this one, yeah, this one, kubectl run. I'm gonna be running a new pod that name is gonna be load generator ITTY. I'm gonna be knowing more about it. Ultimately it's gonna be opening bin shell. So let me do one thing, run this. It will run this particular it will actually open a terminal for me, and will run the image busy box. If you don't see commands prompted, try pressing enter. Yeah, now I am getting that. So ultimately what is happening, this particular busy box is running, and now I'm inside the terminal of that. And from this terminal, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna be making a request to the backend service. For making a request to the backend service, while true, it will be just running again and again. What do I have to do? I have to just simply make a request to this backend service, and that's it, done. So let me just simply copy it from here, and I'm gonna be just simply pasting it here. Well, it doesn't seem to be working for some reason. Control shift V. Okay, turns out I have pasted it again, probably 3 times. This is done. So while true do, ultimately this is the thing that's gonna be running. Let's simply run this, and it is just simply sending the request again and again to what? It is sending the request again and again to Nginx, and right now the CPU utilization should be increasing. So ls k get k top pods, and right now if you actually have a look, it is using 71M, it is using 26, and it is using 18, and the base is 100. So slowly it's gonna be even more. By the way, load generator itself is using 490. This backend is easily able to handle the stuff. So the pod that I have, load generator, that is using more than it should be using. It is using 490M. It doesn't have any limit, so it can actually use any amount of space. That is actually insane, by the way. That's something I didn't want to do. Let me stop it. Ooh, well, I am able to send the request, but not this way. The backend is what? The backend is just normal backend. That simply means it will easily be able to handle the what? It will easily be able to handle the request. That is nothing but the Nginx. So I can do one thing, that the backend that I have, instead of just using Nginx over here, I'm gonna be using a new backend, unstoppable the coder slash backend app. Now where is this backend app? Of course I will have to create this so that it becomes CPU intensive task. Okay, get pods. I have these pods running. I have this load generator pod that is also running, and I can go inside this load generator. This will be mainly used for sending the request, because I'm not using any what? I'm not exposing these pods directly to the external world using load balancer. That is something that is happening. Okay, so load generator I have, that's good. Even we could have gone another way as well, but okay, this is fine. And k delete pod load generator. Why is this not getting removed? Deleted. Okay, get pods. Terminating, but haven't been terminated yet. Okay, get svch. This is a backend service that I'm running, and it is using their backend service if I'm not wrong. Okay, get deployments. Okay, delete. I'm gonna be deleting the deployment as well, because the new one I'm gonna be using apps slash backend deployment. Let's get pods. Alrighty, no resources here. What I want, that the deployment that I had here, this one, I'm gonna be using this. For using this particular deployment, I'm gonna be creating config maps as well, so that this is gonna be using that. But before that, let me do one thing. cd ls, it's gonna be pretty quick, so let me get this thing done as well. First of all, cd scaling, cd backend, and this is the image that I have. I don't have any Docker file as well. Crazy. Let me quickly in here, let me quickly create a Docker file that will be used for from oven/bun1 and workdir/app. Copy package JSON to this the current directory, run bun run, install. It will be installing everything, and after that it will be just simply copying the remaining steps. So copy everything from here to here, and After that it has to just simply run expose report 3000 cmd 1 and index.ts. So this is the overall cmd file that what docker file that I have that will be used for creating the image. I need to have docker ignore over here that will be ignoring node modules. If I have dot environment variables, I don't really have, it will be ignoring docker file as well. So ultimately these things are gonna be ignored. Pretty simple stuff. Let me close this and ls docker build. The tag is gonna be unstoppable coder slash backend app. From the current directory it's going to be built. Hopefully there are no errors as such. Yeah, that's done. Docker images, this is the backend app image that I have got. Docker push unstoppable the coder backend app latest. Let me just simply push this, save and MD around quite okay, that's great. So it's actually going to be pushed there. And now the next thing is that I have to create the config maps. Alrighty, hope it's going to be pushed soon. It is already pushed, clear. So right now if I go to hub.docker.com, sign in. So I have got this unstoppable backend app here. That's great. Once I have this, so what is the next thing that I'm gonna be doing? The job is done from this side, and the next thing is that this manifest that I have, I need to have a config map over here too. So when it comes to the config map, so config map cluster IP is done. Project namespace service config maps. This is not here. That's okay. So where do I have the config maps? This is where I have config map. I wanna create a config map. This is the normal configuration for that. Copy it and let me paste it here. So by the way, this config map doesn't have the namespace either. Better give the things proper namespaces. Yeah, let's go with the namespaces as well. Why not? So by the way, default namespace. Backend config, if it wants to talk to the backend, what is the namespace here? There's no namespace, right? Let's name it backend team. This is the namespace. It has similarly the deployment that I have, it will have the same namespace. So over here it's gonna be having the same namespace backend team, and apart from this deployment, the service that I create, it will have the same namespace over here, so that they are just simply connected to each other. And that's it, that's what I want. And this will be exposed. One more thing that I want to have here, that is creating a load balancer, load generator. So what that load generator be like? I'm exposing this particular cluster, so that this will be available to all the nodes. All the if I'm exposing it, so it will be available to what? It will be available to all the nodes. Yeah, so from the nodes I can just simply send a request to this one. So let me do one thing. I have this backend and I have manifest load manifest.ml. So load generator I'm gonna be creating over here. That's gonna be a normal deployment only. Normal deployment will be creating a normal. Do I have a deployment code here? This is the one. Well, I don't want this, but I definitely want these. Okay, let me make it really quick. I forgot to use one thing here, that is environment variable. There should be somewhere here. So just below container I need to have environment variable. Below container, not really. Inside the container. Just like this, I'm gonna be having my environment variable. The first one is gonna be port value from config when it comes to this config map that I have. So kind of config map, metadata, backend config, namespace, backend team, port number 3000, that's fine. Node, this should be what? Big value. Big value is gonna be equals to what? Big value is gonna be equals to this number. I'm gonna be pasting it over here. This should be sort of like this. Once I have these things over here, I'm gonna be getting them here as environment variable. So name, port, value from config map, backend config, port, that's great. Second one is actually gonna be bigger value. By the way, this key can actually be like this as well. Bigger value doesn't really matter, and hence I will have to keep it here like this. And similarly, I can keep the port as well like this, and I'll have to just simply change the port here. So key is in the small letters, key port, key big value, and this is how things are actually getting done. So no need to worry about this. I'm using backend app over here and latest, so no need to worry about this as well. So overall the whole configuration is done. And service, backend service, I'm gonna be creating another one, this load manifest, and let me copy the whole deployment from here. This will be used, by the way, it doesn't need to use these here. It definitely needs to have some limit, having some limit in the sense 100 to 100, that's okay. This is also gonna be one of the resources. This will be using busy box here, and when this runs, so I need to have some commands to be running. Commands just like this probably. Don't know how do we write the commands. Commands in containers in Kubernetes. Command in Kubernetes containers. Deleting command argument. Command line tool. Kubernetes container with a specific command. So command this run sh. So ultimately this is how it's gonna be going. Or is there any way? Okay, this is what I've been looking for. So bin sh command copy. What copy? Sort of, yes, copy. So I'm gonna be pasting it here. Bin sh command is gonna be this. What is gonna be the command? A command is gonna be like a while loop. That's gonna be true. That will keep running. And what is that? Let me go to my notes here. This is what I want to do. So let me copy this whole thing. This is the command I actually want to run inside that, right? So in that case, let me paste it here. Bin command is gonna be while true. Let me remove this thing. So command is gonna be while true. Do what do we do? Do this thing. Make a request to the backend and done. So this way the request will be going to the backend on port 3000, just like this. So backend service, well, I have to just simply send the request to the service. Service will be redirecting it to the backend. That's great. It will belong to the same group. So this is gonna be a load generator deployment. And once I have this backend team, namespace is gonna be backend team for the backend team only. Replicas, I need only one replica. App is gonna be backend. By the way, app backend. Do I need to have this? No, I don't need to have this. Otherwise, that's gonna be problematic. So, app load generator. This is gonna be replicas. I mean, load for label for this, and busy box. Load generation busy box. This is the command that it will be running. The request resource. This is how it's gonna be going on. It cannot exceed. It can go up to Okay, let it be 200. And that is it. This is what I want to do. It should be 3000 here. So the service will be getting the request on port 80, will be forwarding it to port 3000. And unstoppable the coder image ports. How do we add a port? Ports container ports 3000. That is just for the description purpose, nothing else. So this is how it's gonna be going on. App data 3000. Okay, let's run it. ls get ports. I don't have any. What do I have to run first? HPA email get HPA. I don't have any HPA. Great. So what will I be doing? Let me apply file backend manifest. Backend team is not found. I don't have the namespace. Oh, amazing job. Exit. CDOs ls. I don't have namespace. I will have to create the namespace as well. So probably here at the top. How do we create a namespace? Again, I have the configuration written. What is the use of remembering them as well? Yeah. Hopefully they will be remembered later in the future. But I'm not gonna be focusing on remembering the things. So namespaces, that must be here. Kubernetes namespace. This is the configuration for creating that. So let me copy it from here. Let me paste it over here. API namespace metadata name HTTPD team. This is gonna be backend team. This namespace needs to be created, and once it has actually been created, then that's it. ls apply backend manifest get deployments. Oh, backend team. So now I have the deployment get ports. I will not be getting any ports unless I specify the namespace backend team. Interesting. What is the next thing that I have to do? They are running right now, and they are what? Describe. They are running my code in the sense. So let's execute. Execute interactive mode. अरे हट जाए क्या execute namespace backend team ls, and this is the code that I have, cat index.ts. ultimately this is the code that is running. As expected, this is the same code that I had. That simply means I should be getting the logs here as well. That's right. So get logs backend team. It is able to get this value here. It is able to get the 3000. That simply means config maps are working. Alrighty, what is the next thing? The next thing is that actually starting get ports backend team. I have only 2 ports right now, and I need to have a load generator port. So apply f backend load generator manifest created get ports and backend team. So this is the crash loop back off. Okay, why? क्या हो गया और क्या से क्या हो गया? Load manifest busy box image latest load generator this backend service. What is the problem with this? ls okay, let's run that again. Arey nahi running that again yaar. Team get pods, 2 pods are running, there is no replica. Okay, get deployments. I am only one, right? Load generator, it is not on it. Get pods. What is wrong with this anyway? K describe, K logs. I don't think logs are gonna be helping me here, but let's see. So time to check describe them. Describe okay, yeah, let's simply go through it. So it pulled that create a container load generator, if failed create task, failed create OCI runtime, failed create failed unstable issue container during bin bash. Bash is the problem. It should be such. Let's try to write again. Backend and manifest, not manifest nahi. Backend load balancer. Unexpected. Okay, delete deployment.app/load generator deployment. Not found. Deployment load generator deployment. Okay, delete deployment as load generator. Generator. Never mind. Okay, it couldn't find. I got the reason. Now it will be able to find. Deleted. Okay, good. Deployment backend team. I have to K apply F backend load generator created. K get pods backend team, and right now it is running. Great. What is the next thing? I have to execute inside this. So execute well at it is running. Okay, get logs or probably logs. It must be sending the request as well. Okay, top pods. Is it sending the request? This one is being used 100%. This one is 0. This one is 1. 101. 201 actually. The question that remains, is this actually sending the request continuously? and if it is sending, the request actually goes to this one only. That's it. Alright, bhai. Why is this not taking? Let's execute into that. Okay, first of all describe pod created, generated, started. Command is bin ssh while true do this http backend service done. K get svc. Default service, no bhai, default service I'm deleting. That's been deleted. The service that belongs to the backend team, that will remain there. I already have that, and to this particular service I'm making a request. When I execute k get odds and n backend team k execute in the interactive mode. This is the pod for that, belongs to the backend team. Session to that. And I'm gonna be running the same command from here. Got that. The request goes there, but there is no response from there, and because of that thing only one request gets stuck. Understood. Yeah, understood. So what is the solution? Stop it. Solution is that one less 0 k apply f backend manifest configured k get pods backend team. Arey bhai, so quick. No, new ones haven't been created yet, or they have been configured the right way. Don't know, probably they have been configured the right way. Okay, so let me go inside this particular thing again. Let me run the same command again. It is not giving me any result. ls k logs of this particular one. The thing is that I haven't changed anything inside that, so let me do one thing. K scale deployment back to, I would rather simply stop it. That's right. So k delete deployment app/backend deployment backend team. No, 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 no. Deleted. Okay. Apply f backend manifest. Done. No, 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 no. 7 seconds back. Now if I try to send the request, then let's see what's gonna happen. Send the same request. Yeah, now getting the result. But still the request go there one by one after one. But the request go there, right? That one extra zero was the problem. Right now the request is going there. Okay. Coming back to this. What is the next thing? K top pods. The requests are going to the pods again and again. 119 mm, 176. New pod is gonna be created, but not gonna be created. This is the users. Amazing job, superb, we did it. So this is the request that they are handling. And what is the average request? That is 117, 165. That is already more than 100%, right? And they should be handling 70% if I'm not wrong, or 60%. How much? What was the HPA.ml? That is 50%. They are already handling twice of that, more than twice. Yeah, they are handling more than twice. So I have to just simply apply k get HPA. Do I have HPA? We don't have any HPA, so k apply f HPA. HPA.ml. So HPA had been created. K get HPA. Great. So once HPA has been created, so right now what will happen? The pods, number of pods are going to be increased because it is sending the request again and again. Right now, how many replicas are running? 0 replicas. I think I had better start this thing first, HPA first, and then start the backend. HPA is unable to just find the target. That is the problem. The question is why? Backend deployment we have over here. We are specifying that you have to target this one. Okay, backend deployment. If this is the deployment that I have to track, you know what the problem is? Namespace. Yeah. Let me get HPA. Backend team. I don't have any HPA for the backend team. That is the problem. So let me do one thing. K delete HPA. Backend HPA. And then K apply HPA.ml. File name. K get HPA. I will not be getting any, but K get HPA for the backend team. I have this. 0. Still unknown. Now it is not unknown anymore. 154% is being used. CPU uses 154%. It should ideally be 50%. That simply means there are 2 replicas right now. Soon there are gonna be more than 2 replicas. So let's 4 replicas. What is happening? More replicas, more pods. That simply means pod scaling is actually happening. Let's see how many replicas can be there. 4 replicas. And max to max, how many replicas can be? 7 replicas are there. 7 replicas in the sense K get pods and backend team. these are the replicas that are running in the running status. How many replicas can we have? As per HPA, we can have max 10 replicas. So 10 replicas are gonna be created. By the way, if I have 2 pods, okay, 10 replicas. I should have many. Backend, there is a problem. I can have 10 replicas. 10 replicas in the sense 10 pods are gonna be running. One pod contains 100 M. So this way, this is gonna be crazy. So I'm gonna be changing the resource request for the. I have 10 replicas running. More than that, it cannot be. So right now, if you actually have a look at the CPU utilization, when I have 10 replicas running, the CPU utilization has come back to 47%, and because of that thing, it is not increasing the number of replicas right now. Well, 45%. So doesn't matter how many requests I send. Per CPU, per pod is only having to handle less than 50% request, and if it is more than that, still it is not increasing. 51%. Still it is not increasing. So what I have to do now, the next thing that I can do is to, yeah, one thing can be done. Arre ruja bhai, ruja. It is just simply sending the request again and again and again. What I can actually do, that in here, inside my manifest.ml, I'm saying that here the resource request is 100. That simply means inside one core CPU, I can have 10 replicas running, 10 pods running, because 100 multiplied by 10, 1000, right? So I can make it probably 500 now. So what will happen, inside one I will have only 2 running, and if that is a 2 core, then I will have 4 running max to max, and this way it will be great. By the way, as I have configured this, let me make it 800 max, and lsk apply f backend manifest, done, k get backend team. So many of them are getting terminated, so let them terminate. Oh wait, few of them are terminating, few of them are in the pending state. What is the load that I am getting? There is not a lot of load. Previous ones have been terminated. Right now I have only 2 of them are running, and they have load quite this much for some reason. Okay, the load is slowly decreasing. I'm not even sending the request, bro. Why is the load there? Exit. Okay, by the way, take it HPA for the backend team. I have 10 replicas running as per this. The load is around 76%. That simply means it's gonna be getting more. 120%. Why is the load increasing, bro? Even replicas, number of replicas, it hasn't decreased though. %. The number of replica is gonna be decreasing slowly. So let me do one thing. K delete HPA and backend HPA. I'm gonna be creating again, and deleted K get HPA. Doesn't have any. K apply HPA ML. K get HPA for the backend team. So this one has been created, 2 replicas, 0 replicas are there, and let's see how it's gonna be going on. 0 replicas are there, 10 replicas. CPU uses 14%. It is still saying that 10 replicas are there. So the main problem is not here. The main problem is in the replicas. Okay, get deployments and backend team. So I have only 1 replica, but bhai, 8 are ready out of 10. So they are slowly getting decreased. But I don't want those many. So slowly the number of replicas are going to be decreasing, minimum cost. And also what I'm going to be doing here, that let me delete the deployment. It will delete everything. Okay, delete deployment slash backend team. It's going to be deleted. As it has been deleted, there are no replicas and all. Okay, get HPA and well, it should soon tell me that unable to find the CPU users, maybe in 15 seconds or something, or I'll have to delete this as well. Not able to tell me, but okay, let me start it again. Okay, apply f backend manifest. Array bhai. This much is done. Okay, get pods f. Let's not worry about the pods. Let's simply worry about this HPA. HPA should be telling me about the things. Origin is unknown right now. Okay, that's great. Soon it should be discovering the new pods, a new replica set. It should be discovering the new deployment, and once it discovers it, then it should be telling me the number of pods, replicas running. Why is it unable to discover that? It is still unknown. As long as it is unknown, that simply means it is unable to find that. But k get pods, I don't have any, and for the backend team I have 4 pods running. Why? K get deployments. Up to 10 I can have. 4 are available. 10 by 4. Backend deployment. Okay, 4 are available right now. Why? I just want 2 replicas here. I have specified it. Even after specifying it, it doesn't work as expected. Or probably I need to stop everything. Probably it's right. K get HPA backend team. Right now it has discovered, and it is simply saying that 10 replicas. So there is something causing this to happen. SVC. Let me stop everything for now. So stopping everything in the sense, okay, load balancer is that. Let me stop everything. Okay, delete all ports. Backend team. It will not work. Okay, not a problem. Okay, delete deployment is this not the right command? Backend team deleted get deployments and backend team, or I have these three deployments over here. Matrix server is here by default, is that so? Probably. And I want replica sets, these three replica sets that I have. I want services, backend service that I have, so delete svc, backend service that belongs to backend team, default kube system, this kube proxy, okay fine. Apart from this, how about the HPA? This is the one that I have. Okay, delete HPA, backend team, and backend HPA. Okay, get HPA for all. This thing has also been removed, so almost we have removed everything, whatever we had to just simply go through, right? Alrighty, so we have gone through each and everything. EKS cluster is only there. What is the next thing that I need to do? The next thing is pretty simple. ls k apply backend manifest. Okay, cd cd k apply f backend manifest ml k get pods. So these are the pods that I have running. Let me create a load generator. So okay, apply k apply f load backend load generator. So okay, get I have this pod running. Okay, logs of this and backend team. K top pods. So this is the load on these two load balancers, sorry, backend apps. So ultimately load is going there again and again. That's great, that's what I wanted. Now k top nodes a. So 39% load on this one and 6% load on the another one. It just simply keeps varying as well. So that's good, that's what I wanted. And what is the next thing? The next thing is that load balancer manifest, simply sending the loads to the manifest. And now I have to have HPA, it will just simply increase. So lsk apply f HPA dot ml HPA. So backend team, let's see. Origin is still unknown, that's great. It will be able to find that really quick, and then it should be showing me the number of replicas, and it should be even increasing them. 2 replicas are there, 81% use. That simply means it will be creating new replicas very soon. 4 replicas are there, 84% use. And let's see, 84% use 4 replicas. And still, but the thing is that as there are 4 replicas only, got it. The thing is that only 42% load is there now. So 4 replicas or 39. So 4 replicas will be able to handle that really well. So it will not be increasing the number of replicas now. I will increase it anyway. I will send more traffic, and then the request is going to 40%. Let's wait for a while. Hopefully it will be able to. अरे भाई क्या करा मैंने? HPA. So the load is always gonna be 40%, 48%. Probably it's gonna be increasing the number of replica again if it goes over 50%. I don't think this is ever gonna happen now. I can increase the load. That's 45. Yeah, the load will not increase automatically. I will have to increase the load from my side itself. So let me do one thing. ls k get pods backend team k execute in the interactive mode. This is the load generator. From the load generator, I'm gonna be sending more requests this time. So k execute interactive mode. This load generator and backend team needs to be mentioned here, and namespace is gonna be backend team. Inside that, what is the command for sending the more requests? This is the one. A while loop is gonna be running, that will be sending more requests and all. That's it. So I'm running one more while loop here. Earlier one was running, right now 2 are gonna be running. So it's gonna be sending even more requests. So what will happen? This time 30% uses. This uses is gonna be increasing very soon. 44% uses. Slowly it should be increasing suddenly. Or will it not be? 67%. It has crossed the 50%. New replica should be created. New replica in the sense a new pod should be created. One node can contain only 4. So these 4 replicas were running inside a node. 2 nodes can contain only 8. That simply means a new node will be needed. 6 replicas are here. Why one node can contain only 4 replicas? Because the minimum resource request is 500 right now, and 2 cores it has. So yeah, it does make sense. 77% is still, it will be creating more replicas. But let's see how long it's going to be taking. It cannot create more replicas. Why? Simple thing. So what is happening over here? Even if the CPU is a 69% uses, that simply means more than 50%. So it should be creating new replicas, but those new replicas are gonna be pending. Why pending? Let me even show that. K get pods and backend team. Few are running, but 2 of them are pending 67 seconds ago. That simply means there is not enough space. So what is actually happening here? That I actually have, this is my Kubernetes cluster. Inside this Kubernetes cluster, I have 2 nodes. Okay, and those 2 nodes are 2 cores nodes. So they are 2 core nodes. This one is also 2 core node. This one is also 2 core node. But what is the problem? The problem is that my one pod here, one pod minimum resource request is 500 M. Okay, so because of this thing, it created 3 pods inside this. Similarly, it also created 3 pods inside this. But you must be wondering, okay, 3 pods, that simply means 1500 M, and 2 cores contains 2000 M. That simply means 500 is still remaining. That simply means over here, just a minute, let me delete this. Come on here, can't I? Yeah, So 500 is still remaining. What about that remaining 500, right? But it's not exactly like that, because what happens, I have 3 main pods running. By default, the node itself runs its some default pods. So because of that thing, there could be that probably only 450 M is remaining. 450 M is remaining. Why? Because few pods run by default. They consume some space and all. Let me even show that. So, okay, backend team. These are the pods, 6 pods that I have running. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Do I have 5 pods running? I have 6 pods running, right? Yeah, I have 6 replicas running. That simply means 6 pods. So 1, 2, 3, 6. Okay, maybe one is not visible. Why is that so? 3 replicas are. Okay, few are still pending. So 6 replicas are running, but few are still pending, and because of that thing, even if it is running, but it is not running because there is not enough space. Alrighty, so what is actually happening? For right now, it is just simply showing 6 of them, but I'm not able to see. Let me check the replicas. RS. So 6 replicas of the backend, 4 are ready. Okay, so it is just simply saying that 6 replicas are running, but only 4 of them are ready, and Desired is 3, 4 of them are ready right now and working. Load generator is actually just taking some space as well, and because of even load generator is running, so how can we forget this thing? And because of that thing, it is unable to create 4 I can say 2 more replicas. And k top pods and backend team, if you actually have a look over here. So what is happening? My load generator, there are 4 pods that are running. They are consuming this much space, and then even load generator is also just simply taking some m millicore space here. But if you actually have a look over here, this much they are taking 489, 270, 470, and this, and at the end of the day, k get HPA and backend team. What is the load here? Load is around 80% per load is around 80% per pod here, and I only have 4 pod. Why? I have 2 nodes. K get nodes. I have 2 nodes, and k top nodes, and both of them are around at this huge. CPU percentage keeps increasing and decreasing. Load balancing is not happening the right way. Yeah, few load. No, it is also working in the background. But the first one is handling most of the load, and the second one is not. That is the problem. By the way, there is definitely enough space. 293. Okay, memory I'm using, that is the problem. Should I remove the memory? Probably. Okay, but this is actually happening. Ultimately, what is happening here, that doesn't matter how many pods I have 2 pods right now, but the number of pods, the new pod is unable to fit inside this or inside this, and because of that thing, only 4 pods I have. It could be because of it could be because of CPU uses, and it could be because of memory. That is something I have to figure out right now, because I even have the memory constraint over there. Because as per the CPU uses, it is definitely available, but the next thing that I have to know, that is inside which pods are being used. 30-40. So yeah, kind of they're balancing the load among them, but only 4 pods are catered, 2 inside this, probably 2 inside this. So 1000 around, and 1000 is still remaining. There are 2 core pods. There are two cores, right? They have, let me describe them. K describe node, and I'm gonna be describing this. Arey bhai, terminal is ready. I'm gonna be describing this one, and CPU, this much is being used. Oh, this much is already being used. Got it, got it, got it, got it. Understood right now. What is the problem and why are the new pods are not being created? So what is the issue over here? It has two, okay, just like this. So it has two pods running here. It also had two pods running here, so four pods are running. This is the minimum resource request, and because of that thing, it created this. But what is actually happening? By default, these two pods are not just using 500, they are using around till 800. They can use up to 800, and because of this thing, when two pods are running inside this and two pods are running inside this, they have consumed almost more whatever space was remaining. So the remaining space is by the way, what should be the remaining space? Remaining space should be 500 m. That 500 m space is not remaining for the new pod, and because of that, new pod is not being created. Even if there are two pods only inside this, but those two pods are using more than 1500 or 1600, and because of that thing, new pods are not getting created. That is actually what is happening over here. It is just simply saying that CPUs are actually 1540. That simply means even less than 500 is remaining, because total is 2000 m for 2 core CPU. If I actually show you the cores of the CPU, so it is a 2 core CPU. So CPU is a 2 core over here. So 2 core in the sense 2000 milli core. It is already using 1540 over here. So less than 500 is remaining, and that is why new core new CPU, a new pod is not being created, and the limit is 600. So it is using this much, it can actually use up to 600. So if it is using 600, only 400 is remaining at the end, and it is not able to create that. What is the next thing? The next thing is that these two nodes are unable to handle that. So let me better thing would be creating one more node here, so that when the new nodes gets created, that is actually handling the load. So this is gonna be the next goal for us. We have enough things here. K get HPA belongs to the backend team. It is just simply saying that 7 replicas are running, and 65% 7 replicas are running. Probably not exactly 7, because few of them are still pending. So we need to have new node, so that it can actually, new pods can be scheduled to that particular node. So we have to focus on node Autoscaler. So how can we increase the node based on the CPU uses? So this is the thing that we have to focus on. So we have to create a deployment, cluster deployment. This replicas 1, it will have only one replicas. Cluster Autoscaler, it will be mainly used for auto-scaling the nodes and all. So let me just simply do one thing, autoscaler.ml. This will be responsible for auto-scaling the nodes. So vi autoscaler.ml. I'm gonna be exactly talking about each and everything, no need to worry about this. Let's go through this particular Autoscaler ML that I have. What it says, it is a deployment, simple. Namespace cube system, this is gonna be the part of the cube system, that's a Kubernetes system. Replica 1 should be running. Selected mesh tables, cluster Autoscaler, this is gonna be the label for this. I'm gonna run image, this is gonna be the image, autoscaling cluster Autoscaler. This is the image, will be responsible for upscaling the nodes. Command is gonna be cluster Autoscaler cloud provider AWS nodes. Minimum 1 node can be there, okay. Maximum there can be 6 nodes. That simply means it can scale up to 6 nodes. And what is the name of the node group? That is the my nodes. How do I know this group name is my nodes? Because when I actually created when I created my load manifest over here, sorry, cluster actually. So when I created my cluster here, so I named it my nodes. So the node group is my nodes over here, and on the basis of that thing, I'm just simply going. So this is gonna be the configuration for Autoscaler. So what am I gonna be doing? Vi apply m, file name is not k, apply f Autoscaler ml. Let's simply apply this. K get deployments f Get deployments for all. Let's see all the deployments over here. So this is the new deployment that I have got. Which one? Cluster Autoscaler. This is the new deployment that I have got. It hasn't started yet, so let's wait for a while for it to be started. And I don't even think it's gonna be started. It's not getting started for some reason. Why? Am I missing something, or have I missed something? Autoscaler, okay, I have done that. I can even start that. Probably I haven't added this one, Autoscaler matrix release, and because of that thing that is unable to get the matrix. Let's see what is the issue with this. It hasn't started yet, so this is the deployment that I have. So k describe deployment, and I'm gonna be describing this one over here. Oh, the namespace is gonna be cube system. Alrighty, here we are. And what is the problem here? Scaled up replica set this from 0 to 1. "99 seconds ago. Cluster Autoscaler from 0 to 1. Replica. Ooh, it made it. Okay, just a sec. Desired 1 updated, 1 total, 0 unavailable, 1 available, rolling update. Okay, get HPA. Okay, get nodes. I only have 2 nodes. That simply means it hasn't increased that. Okay. In cube system. What is the configuration of this autoscaler? Yeah. Autoscaler did this fine. Cluster autoscaler labels replica label cluster autoscaler EKS. Am I missing something? Or bhai, all I did, let me copy this much from here, give it to the chat GPT. I want to know exactly what it means here. New chat actually. Why it's not increasing the number of nodes here? Or a bhai. Great, your value the auto is deployed, but it's not working. Let's break this down. Replicas 1 desired, 1 total, 0 1. Okay, this means pod is created but not running, not ready. So the first important thing, cluster autoscaler is not even running properly yet. So that's why nodes are not increasing. Step check pods. Okay, get pods and cube system. Let's see what is the problem. So, oi hoy. It is crashing. I could have thought of it again earlier. So it is crashing. This will keep better permission. Okay, by the way, it is just simply crashing. So let me take the screenshot of it. Bro, it is crashing. Why is it? But now we know the your autoscaler pods crash loop off. That means container is starting failing, is restarting again and again. Okay, so get the real most run kube system. Gonna be getting the, okay, that's fine. Let's simply run this command and know more about that. Cannot list resource nodes in the API group. Fail to get nodes from API server. Nodes is forbidden. Use the service account default, cannot list. So ultimately permission is the problem here. Root cause this meaning your cluster autoscaler is using the default service account which has no permissions. Simple in Kubernetes, every pod runs with a service account. That account needs RBAC permission. So cluster autoscaler using default service account and has almost zero access. So fix. You need to create a dedicated service account, give it the cluster level permission, attach it to the deployment step by step. Create service account plus RBAC. A service account needs to be created. Service account just like this. Then RBAC permission, create a cluster autoscaler, API groups, pods, services, nodes, namespaces, verb, list, watch, get, API groups. I'll have to know more about it. But okay, if it works this time, nothing could be better than that. Resource deployments, replica sets, list this, API groups, this, API version, this. So I have to just simply apply this RBAC ML. This is something that is needed right now. And then kubectl edit deployment autoscaler this service spec service account is gonna be create autoscaler. So ultimately this is the service that I'm creating, cluster autoscaler, not create autoscaler, cluster autoscaler. Yeah, cluster autoscaler. So let me do one thing. Let me create this service, and that's gonna be RBAC service, RBAC ML. So ls rbac.ml vi rbac.ml, paste it over here, and let's check this thing out. First of all, RBAC.ml that I have created, and the namespace cube system, cluster role, autoscaler. These are the things that I have given in here, and I have cluster role binding as well. I'm gonna be just simply applying this. Okay, apply f and rbac.ml. Okay, get rbac cube system namespace cube system. Okay, forget about that. Whatever this is just kind of SVC. So SVC and cube system. Yeah, so I have this well, I don't have any. Whatever I have created something right now. And once I have this, what is the name of this? This is service account. So okay, once we have done this, what is the next thing that we have to do? The next thing is that we have to add this ML file to spec autoscaler service account name. Edit your deployments. The deployment that I have, that simply means manifest. This is the main deployment that I have here. kubectl edit deployment cluster. This kubectl delete pod and cube system. Guide me step by step from here. Let's see. I got it. Okay. So step by step. Create a RBAC service account. First of all, this is gonna be created. Great. At least this is already done here, so we don't really need to worry about this. Adding list watch, cluster name, all these things are gonna be here. and then control X, kubectl F, apply this. We have already done that. It's going to be creating this. Attach service account to deployment. Now edit your R2 scaler deployment. We have to edit that. So edit deployment cluster R2 scaler. We have to edit this ncube system and find this. So whenever we run edit deployment cluster R2 scaler and ncube system, so it will give me the option for editing this, and I have to find this section and I have to add this particular section. Let's see what happens here. Great. Wow, I mean, amazing. And template spec, input mode, insert mode. Okay, so this is where I have to add that, and here what I have to add, I have to add service account autoscaler, containers autoscaler, that is already there. So let me just simply containers command and all. Name cluster autoscaler, everything is already here. Well, turns out many things are here. Bhai, this is insane level of thing. And let me save it. It's been saved, and then once it is saved, restart. So kubectl delete pod ncube system, restart autoscaler pod, automatically will create a new pod. Okay, let me just simply follow it and see whether it works or not, and then I'll see exactly the things. Kubectl get pods. Wow, Vipendra, such a good thing you are doing. Can't even copy the things properly. Oh, this time it is running. Great job, as it is running right now. Okay, get notes. Only 2 nodes are here. What is the next thing? Running. If it is still running, after it becomes running, next issue will likely be add permission terms or say handle permissions or disclare your task this. Alrighty. Okay, get HPA backend team. So 66% load. It is still not able to increase the number of replicage. 63%, it should be increasing. 82% right now. Okay, get nodes. Only 2 nodes are running right now. Okay, get deployments. By the way, whatever I edited there, let me have the same thing here. RVAC, this is the cluster that I created, and okay, I had this Autoscaler. This needed the configuration, and what was that configuration? This one. Let me just simply have this here, service Autoscaler. So before even that, I need to create the service. Let me just simply give it to this. Is this right? And this is mostly but not fully for AWS. Autoscaler, what is missing? Nodes issue, hard node group not recommended. So problem, my nodes must exactly match Autoscaling group nodes, hard node error prone. Okay, so updated and corrected version, Autoscaler base and node group, your cluster name, my cluster name, cluster enabled this Autoscaler, node groups, node group auto discovery, it will be discovering the node groups automatically, that's great. And replace this with okay, fine. So ultimately this is the whole ML file that I need to have, right? So let me copy it, and this whole ML file needs to be replaced. By the way, discovery tag, cluster enabled, Autoscaler, EKS cluster, name of the cluster, so this EKS name of the cluster here, and enabled cluster Autoscaler, balance similar node groups, skip with the system ports false, this. Alrighty, overall things we have it here, and this is the RABCA rule. Let me get it checked by this again. Is this fine? And coming back to this one, yes, what's good? Cannot list nodes, now resolved, and correct way, recommended one. Okay, let's go with this one if it just makes it even better. Autoscaler, what RBC apply, and then delete. Well, I will be restarting that, so no need to do anything. Delete pod n cube system. I'm gonna be deleting the pod and the list app Autoscaler. So those pods which have this particular pod, that's okay, fine with this. Let me copy this and RBSC. So just like this, I'm gonna be going ahead. Quite a few things it has added. What is the next thing? Pretty simple thing. ls k get deployments a. I'm gonna be deleting them now. K delete deployments deployment dot apps slash cluster auto scaler cube system. This is deleted, and then this I have metric server over here, EVS CSI controller, this load generator, and this, and RBAC ls k apply f RBAC ML cluster is configured. Question is how to check RBAC. Very important, check a service account, confirm your Autoscaler is used the correct service account, kubectl deployment cluster Autoscaler deployment cluster Autoscaler, this ML grep, it is gonna be this one, check role cluster role expected Autoscaler, so we can even get the cluster roles. ls so k apply f k get pods for all. So I have backend team pods running over here. I have cube systems, AWS related sub k proxy, metrics k apply f, and that's gonna be Autoscaler k get pods for all. So these cluster Autoscaler, this one is running right now. So k get nodes okay, get HPA and backend team. Time to take the help of AI. Why is this not able to increase the number of nodes when everything is running sort of well? Now we have full visibility, Autoscaler running, 7 replica, just some pods are pending, nodes are still to backend. This is correct trigger for Autoscaler, but it is not scaling, would cause cluster. Autoscaler is not connected to your AWS Studio. So you configure Autoscaler like this, or maybe switch it to Autoscaler discovery, but you not configure AWS IAM or ESG text properly. How to think it like this: Kubernetes, Autoscaler, AWS SG EC2 instances. So right now Kubernetes AWS connection broken here. Okay, fine. Proof: you have pending pods, 80% Autoscaler running, nodes increasing, and this only happens when Autoscaler cannot talk to AWS. So the main two things: IAM role biggest issue. Autoscaler needs permission to increase node count, read, and this without this no scaling happens. So ESG tags required for Autoscaler discovery. I have this. You must have step by step fix. Find your cluster. AWS EKS list clusters. So let's see. AWS EKS list clusters. So I have this EKS cluster over here. So tag your auto-scaling group. Go to AWS console, auto-scaling groups, select add these tags. They must be added already. Let's see. This is the auto-scaling group over here. This one, tags. I already have them enabled. They are already added, and what I have given it administrator access in the permissions. Do I still need to give other permissions? Great, this screenshot is very helpful. I can, but from your is this true running pending HPA is working. So Kubernetes side perfect. Real problem. You said I give administrator access, but where did you give it? This is the key mistake. Most people make give admin access easy to node, not autoscaler access. That's what I've done here. That is not okay. Why cluster autoscaler and so service account inside Kubernetes. So what's missing? You did not connect it to service account IAM role. This is called IRSA IAM role for service account. Simply Autoscaler code. Okay, fine. Final fix you must do step by step. Check this thing. AWS EKS describe cluster name EKS query this. If empty, tell me if values continue. Let's see. There are the values here. Okay. Create IAM policy. You already created. If not, you already created. IAM policy. IAM role service. Most important part. Restart Autoscaler. Watch logs. How to change the IAM policy how to change the IAM policy and just do everything. Just guide me step by step. Perfect. Okay, here we are. EKS cluster you are running already confirmed. Check enable IODC, very important. So run this particular command, and then if you get a URL like this, good, go to the second step. If you get empty error, then EKSETL. If you get empty error, then approve. Okay, that's done already. Create IAM policy. Go to AWS IAM policies. Create a policy. AWS IAM policies. Policy. Do I have to create a policy? Paste this JSON. Create policy. Autoscaling describe groups, set desired capacity, terminate. Okay, let's first of all check this thing whether it works or not. Then name it cluster autoscaler policy. Okay, fine. So let me do that. I mean, follow it, whatever it is saying. JSON. Version 2010. Okay, that's fine. That's the same version that I'm actually using. So statement, this is what is gonna be allowing, and what is gonna be the name, policy name, right? So it is actually asking me to name this. So let me give it the name. Is it to create the policy? Once the policy is create IAM role plus attach the service account. So main step, run this EKS IAM service account cluster EKS queue system, this autoscaler, attach policy your account ID, policy autoscaler, and approve. AWS HTTP get caller identity, verify service account. Can't I do it directly from UI? Can't I do this thing from the UI itself, from the UI of AWS? What the hell? It is not able to get this. Okay. Okay, it will be, but I'll be honest, it's more steps in these mistakes compared to EKSETL, I give estimate. Okay, it's too much. Let's go with that. Oh, too much here. Okay, so this is gonna be the next step. We have already gone through it. We have already created this. The next thing is it is asking me to do this. So if I simply copy it and paste it here. So few things I need to change. That is the autoscaler policy. I just need to have my ID over here, and that's what I have to paste. The question is, how am I gonna be getting that? So for getting the ID, your account, get caller identity, AWS STC, get caller identity, account ID, this is the one, and I'm going to paste it here and let's simply run this. Man. Okay, this is done. Let's see, give it to this. Oh boy, let's see what it's gonna say. Service account that existing component will be excluded. You already created a service account manually RBAC step, so it is refusing to override it. So what is the problem? Service account exists. I am role exists, not attached. Autoscaler cannot talk to AWS. Fix one simple step. You just need to override the attached I am. Chalo bhai, ye bhi chalo. I mean, if this is the only thing that's remaining, so let me do that too. And AWS, don't know how many things I have to configure. It's gonna take some time and verify capital get cluster kya? Why do we have to configure so many things to get a simple thing done? Or probably it's not a simple thing. Okay, and okay, let's continue. Let's see what's gonna happen. Annotations role rn. I already added this, didn't I? By the way, it is done. That's great. But when I created this cluster, I added the annotation here. I didn't. Okay, by the way, done. What is the next thing that I have to do? Copy paste, bro. Once it works, I will just get everything written or saved step by step. But until then, go with the flow, do it somehow, get it done. This is exactly what we want. Confirmation. This exists service account connected to IAM role. ISRA is successfully configured. And so the next Autoscaler can SQL nodes. So keep it at get ports, and I have to just simply delete the previous one. Array, copy. So it will delete the previous Autoscaler and create a new one. So restart Autoscaler. So it uses the new IAM role, and let's do that. And then logs, cube system, check nodes. These are the logs that I have. Okay, get nodes, watch mode. खुल जा सिम सिम. They are not being created. Let me copy it all. Let me give it to this. Oh, I have created the permission, but I haven't added. Just one final fix left. Current cannot releases the API group coordinates. Autoscaler cannot do leader election because it lacks permission for leaders. So rest but your RVC does not final fix leader permission. Keep good editor. ये भी सही. We have done so much. Let's do this too. Add these rules. रुलाएगा क्या? कितना कराएगा ये पागल? Okay. I have even started forgetting what all I have done. Forget about what I'm gonna be doing. Koina, you have come this far. By the way, huh? I created the policy that you asked me to create, but never added to anything. Let's see. Ta-da-da. Go to IAM roles, AWS IAM roles, find your role, and probably I will be able to do that. Roles, do I have any? Ha, I have, but which one? EKS cluster add-on IAM service account. This one. Permissions. Create autoscaler policy. It's already added, bro. No need to do anything. Okay, it was used for adding the policy. There. Got it. What is the next thing? Oh, it is just simply saying the leases is the issue. So let me just fix that as well. Yeah. I can't even copy the things well. Copy, paste it here. अरे हट जाओ. Let me paste. Okay, what do I have to find here? I have to find something called to rules. So this is what I have to add to the rules. Let me copy it. Where are the rules? Oi, rules. Here are the rules. Probably this is where I have to insert mode, add this. What is the next thing? Yeah, done, added. Too bad. I click Control Shift C to copy. I'm in the habit of, again I was supposed to do that. Restart Autoscaler again. Cube control pod, delete pod. It will be deleting the pod from the cube system that will have the Autoscaler label. Such a good command. Done. Cube control logs. Yeah, Mr. Yeah, we are gonna do it. One more forbidden. One by one, one after the other. अरे रे इतने सारे हैं कि मैं Excellent. Logs tells us exactly what is broken. अरे मैं छोड़ देंगे इसको, मैं बता रहा. I've been trying for so long. Final problem. From your logs missing Kubernetes RBAC permission. This means your cluster is still incomplete. Missing AWS permission critical, not authorized to perform this. This is the main blocker now. So root cause incomplete, IAM policy incomplete are working. Fix, go to AWS IAM policies, cluster policy, editor. Oh, wow, 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 wow. Replace with this full policy. करते हैं भाई, तू कहता जा, हम करते जा रहे हैं. What was the policy that I created earlier? Go to cluster Autoscaler policy that I created. Cluster auto is scalar, all types not customer managed. Yeah, this is the one that I created. And JSON edit. All of this needs to be replaced with this. And next, save changes. One more has been added as per ChatGPT suggestion. And save it. It is asking me to edit a cluster. In this world, I could do anything, but I cannot copy properly. Literally. Control C. Stop. है? अभी क्या करना? Add all. मरवाएंगे. How many permissions am I gonna be adding there? Add all the missing permissions. Missing permissions, right? Let me check how many permissions are actually missing here. Here we are. था किधर, मैं गया किधर? हाँ, add all the permissions. So when it comes to the permissions, when I have API groups, I need to come here. Coordinates. Resources works. API coordinate, storage, batch, and this. Storage category I have. Okay, resources, so many of them. भाई storage category आयो. Storage classes I have here. Let me do one thing. Let me keep it at the top. That's the best thing that I can do here. At least I think so. Now whether it is the best thing or not, I don't know. La. I told you, I cannot never learn copying. कुछ हुआ? It is finally increasing. I mean, increasing number of that. Let me see. Attempting to record release. That simply means Okay, get nodes. Oh, finally I have 3 nodes. Don't know how many things I had to go through, bro. I had to just get all this. First of all, let's say this properly. It's been crazy. Even I have to just mention all the steps. Oh, headache. Okay, get nodes I already have. How many I have right now? I have 3. Okay, HTTPS. Okay, get HPA. And backend team. I've been sending the request for a long time. रुक जा भाई, कितना चलेगा? So ravc.ml. HPA.ml. EKS cluster. Autoscaler.ml. Load manifest, manifest.ml. Finally, let me have it here as well. This is the configuration that I followed initially. Then I went through the steps suggested by you. Now correct it if there's something wrong with any configuration over here. Give me in a proper format so that next time onwards I just simply follow the steps and I'm actually able to implement this R2 scaling node functionality and guide me with all the steps, all the policies that I need to create and I need to add and all. Ultimately everything, whatever is required, including the things that I have given you and including the things that you have told me. So get everything clear in one go. Ooh. Let's go. You've done a lot right. Your setup is very close to the production grade, but a few missing permissions plus a small config gaps. Final goal. HPA increases pending pods appear cluster autoscaler adds nodes automatically. But was wrong summary from your config plus logs RABCA incomplete missing releases configs jobs names storage resources IAM policy incomplete missing EKS describe group IRSA not attached policy initially now fixed everything else good. Now clean correct setup save this EKS cluster your config is already good just keep this thank you very much. So this is hey just keep this. So what is the अरे भाई इतना क्यों देना This was already added, this was already added, and these things were already added, so no need to change the EKS cluster. Great. IAM policy final version. This is gonna be the final version for IAM policy that I need to create, and I is most important, IRSA most important. So what it does that IAM service account cluster autoscaler policy that I created, it just simply adds that. So let's do one thing. Probably this was something that I was missing. So I created my cluster. Just below that, S2 policy, some policy related stuff. /code. The name of this policy is gonna be what? Where is this? Okay, finally. So ultimately this is IAM policy, and the name of this policy is gonna be forgot the name. Okay, never mind, I'll figure out the name. And then /code. What is the next thing that I have to do? The next thing, ISRA, most important part. Let me copy it, let me paste it over here, and here the policy name was this. It is just simply trying to attach the policy. Account ID should be here, and this is the name of the policy. So this needs to be done. And RBAC final corrected version, RBAC with this line. I need to create one more thing, RBAC here. Just below this policy, RBAC. Let me change the color to probably green. Let's keep it green right here. And this is the RBAC ML file. Paste the code over here. RBAC.ml. We have to just simply apply everything. Wow, kya baat hai. What is the next thing? Autoscaler deployment corrected. Your config is already good. Just ensure node group auto discovery ESG KTH cluster autoscaler enabled and KTH cluster on. Autoscaler deployment correct. Autoscaler deployment correct. This one, it is already good. Node group discovery enabled, and this EKS cluster fine. So this is Autoscaler RBAC and Autoscaler. So just below this I have autoscaler.ml /code. Paste it. Alrighty. What is the next thing? App plus HPA correct. So only important part. This is what triggers scaling 500. Yeah, that's right. Load generator correct. Final, run this. So ultimately final steps, they are gonna be this. Ultimately everything else is correct, right? So the load manifest that I had, that load manifest is correct. So inside the app, sample app. There are gonna be two things. Another one is gonna be the load manifest. Load manifest.ml. That's already correct, so let me paste it over here. And then I had manifest, this is already correct as well, so let me copy it. Nothing needs to be changed as such, so let me paste it here. And this is the working code, so no need to worry about anything. And RBAC, we have gone through it. This whatever we had to go through, we have already gone through it. And overall metric server, and what are the commands that I need to run? The commands that I need to run, first of all, these ones are okay. /code. First of all, apply RBAC. Apply RBAC. Then apply Autoscaler. Then apply these three things. Then important, delete cluster this. Okay. Then cube system. Then watch the nodes to be increasing. Then finally, okay. Whew. RBAC, Autoscaler, manifest, load, HPA. So first, before even that, create EKS, I think. Create EKS cluster. This is gonna be the first step, and then create the RBAC and all. Now the last thing. You have told me about everything, that exactly what all I need. Now tell me why I need them and what purpose they serve, and if I remove them, what will happen? How long has it been? I don't even know, by the way. This is the last question. It's been 3 hours. Congratulations. You've implemented everything. Now let's understand why each piece exists in simple terms. Big picture first. Your system is user traffic, HPA, more pods, config, Autoscaler, more config, Autoscaler, more nodes. This is gonna be the overall flow. So user, yeah, this is gonna be it. User traffic, HPA, more pods, config, Autoscaler, more needs, more nodes, AWS launched EC2. Yeah, that's what I want. Each component solves a specific problem. So first of all, HPA, horizontal pod scaler, purpose increases and decreases number of pods on CPU. So first of all, let's keep it like this, slash, just like this, HPA does this request Why do we need this? Tell Kubernetes this pod needs this much CPU. That's right. Why needed? Schedulers use this to decide can this pod fit on the node. If you remove it, Kubernetes assumes pod needs almost nothing. Okay, so all pods fit. No pending pods. Autoscaler nodes never triggers. This is the most common mistake. Pending pods trigger. Pending pods trigger autoscaler signal. So when it comes to the pending pods, signal that cluster has no space. Autoscaler only works when pod pending unscheduled. If no pending pods, autoscaler says everything fits. No need to scale. Cluster autoscaler increases or decreases the number of cluster autoscaler. Why do we need this? This is mainly increases or decreases the number of pods. HPA increases pods, but pods need nodes to run. Autoscaler solves no space, add nodes. If you remove it, pods increases but no nodes, so pods stay pending for forever. RBAC Kubernetes permissions. RBAC Kubernetes permissions allow autoscaler to read cluster state. Okay, fine. Why needed? Autoscaler needs to see pods, see nodes, detect pending pods. If missing user cannot list nodes or get leases. Autoscaler caches becomes blind. ISRA I am role for service. I am role for service. I am service account. ISRA I am role for service account. What is the purpose of this? Gives AWS permission to autoscaler. Give permission to autoscaler pods. While autoscaler runs inside Kubernetes, but scaling happens in AWS. Autoscaler AWS API launch EC2. If missing access denied, autoscaler runs, but nothing happens. I am policy. I am policy defines what autoscaler can do in AWS. So this policy defines what is possible to do. Why needed a permission like increase auto node count, read autoscaling groups to describe node groups. If incomplete, use not unauthorized and all that's right. Scaling fails slightly. ASG X. This true purpose help autoscaler discover node groups automatically. So the node groups needs to be discovered automatically. So this autoscaler needs to know which node group should I scale. If missing, no node group found, autoscaler does nothing. Autoscaler flags node group autoscaler. Yeah, autoscaler flags example can be this. What is the use of? Tell autoscaler how to find node groups. If missing, autoscaler doesn't know where to scale. A load generator. The load generator that we have generator creates traffic, increases CPU, trigger HPA. No load, no scaling, nothing happens. Complete flow. This is gonna be the complete flow overall here. This this is gonna be the overall flow here. And apart from this particular thing, yes, to found if missing, no pod scaling, no request pending, no pending pods. Autoscaler no, node scaling, RABC no, Autoscaler blind, RABCA, ISRA no, AWS access, IAM pulse access denied. Okay, done. Finally, whatever we had to go through, we have gone through. Okay, let's not worry about this. Okay, so these have been the steps, these have been the I don't want to do this. It is selected, and let me make them bold. Well, they do not need to be bold. Few of the things need to be bold. As for the color, I can definitely change that. Alrighty, so these are the steps anyway, and as these steps have been mentioned over here, now the next time we have to just simply go through all these steps and see whether it actually works or not. By the way, the name of the sample app is what? The first one is the backend team. It was manifest.ml. RABCA policy cluster links. Congratulations. At least we have gone through it once. We are actually able to scale and all. And as for the remaining steps, I'm gonna be working on it in the evening. Not now. It's more than enough for me right now. So EKSCTL delete cluster, and file name is gonna be EKS cluster. The cluster name is gonna be EKS cluster. It's just simply gonna be deleting it from the AWS. So that was it, everybody. Now I'm gonna be catching up in the evening, and we will be going through more stuff. And until then, take care, bye bye, and see you. Bye bye.